I became
Did you give us the page?
3174, file 8. You can get rid of the rest. You've located the page, Advocate Johnson?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, this is a complaint addressed to the Commission. It's dated the 21st of July, 2026. Now, at 3174 is the cover page from the attorneys listed there, Malebia and Maleho Incorporated. And the complaint addressed to the Commission is a complaint in relation to unlawful conduct by IDAC. And this is on behalf of Sergeant F.E. Nkosi. The letter does have the standard salutary paragraph. It starts mainly at paragraph 2 and reads, our office has been mandated by Mr. Nkosi to bring to the attention of the Commission that upon or about the 13th of July 2026, a delegation comprising of 9 IDAC officials visited our client in prison, our client in this sense being Sergeant F.E. Nkosi. The purpose of the said visit was to conduct an interview with him in relation to ongoing investigations pertaining to Medicare 24 contract, and more specifically, information that they demanded from Mr. Nkosi regarding ties between Vusi Musi Matlala, National Commissioner General Masemola, and Lieutenant General Khumalo. It then sets out other facts. If you go to 3176, let's start at the bottom last line of 3175 under paragraph 4. The letter states, furthermore, we are, of the view that the conduct of IDAC not only amounts to intimidation of witnesses of the Commission, but also amounts to an abuse of power. The issue regarding intimidation of witnesses of the Commission is a matter for the commissioners to deal with. I'm more interested in the purpose for which IDAC paid Sergeant Nkosi a visit. If we go to page 3177, that is the affidavit of Sergeant Nkosi. I would like us to zoom in at page 3, paragraph 3. And it reads, on Monday, 2026-07-13, between 1300 and 1400, I was called out from my detention cell by the senior prison official, known to me as Mr. Matlala, that's a prison official, who informed me that there were investigators from Investigating Directorate Against Corruption, commonly known as IDAC, who wanted to interview me. I was taken to the prison boardroom where I found plus minus 9 officials who informed me that they were from IDAC. They were led by an Indian male who introduced himself as Sunil Belochan. These IDAC officials were comprised of 1 Indian female, 1 white male, 1 African male, and 6 Indian males. Those IDAC officials started to question me about the relationship between myself and Vusi Musiket Matlala and threatened to charge me with corruption for once being in possession of Vusi Musiket Matlala's FNB card. I would like us to then move to paragraph 4, where he states, and I quote, Sunil Belochan informed me that the white male was their official photographer. Sunil Belochan further asked me what I know about any corrupt relationship between Vusi Musiket Matlala, National Commissioner General Masemola, and Lieutenant General Khumalo. I told him that I knew nothing about any corrupt relationship that he was asking me, and that I only knew Vusi Musiket Matlala has close ties with Lieutenant General Sibia and Major General Khan, but he told me that he never asked me about Lieutenant General Sibia and Major General Khan. Sunil Belochan further informed me that I must not give him nonsensical explanation about Vusimusiket Matlala's FNB bank card being left in the jet ski boat because Vusimusiket Matlala had already given him a clear explanation of how I got hold of this FNB bank card. Last penultimate line of that page, Sunil Belochan further informed me that the interview would continue with or without my legal representative, Mr. Katleho Maleho. I'll jump to the following page, page 3178, paragraph 5. Almost, let's say, a quarter through that paragraph. Furthermore, I would like to indicate that white male IDAC official took photos of me without my consent while I was being interviewed by Sunil Belochan. When I inquired about photos being taken, they informed me that they form part of their investigation against me. Before both Sunil Belochan and his white male colleague could leave, they informed me that they would contact my legal representatives. He concludes at paragraph 5, lastly, I feel that IDAC officials have trampled on my constitutional rights by interviewing me without the knowledge of my legal representative. If we go forward to 3186, that's an affidavit by Sergeant Ngosi's attorney. 3180.
Sorry.
Yeah. Apologies, 3180. And we'll pick it up at paragraph 3, where the attorney states that on Monday, 2026-07-13 at 15:13, I received a phone call from telephone number stated, and the caller, that's a landline. The caller was my client, Fanny Ezekiel Nkosi. Then he states that Mr. Nkosi proceeded to inform him of the visit that he had heard from investigators of IDAC. At paragraph 4, he says on the same afternoon, 13 July 26, he received he got a missed call from a cell phone number stated, and when I checked it on Truecaller app, it showed that it belonged to Sunil Belochan. On Tuesday, the 14th of July, 2026, at 0829, the same number phoned him again, and he was busy, and the user sent a WhatsApp message reading, "Good morning, sir. I'm senior investigator Belochan from IDAC. Can you please return my call?" Then if we go further on, he then attaches a couple of annexures. These are photos of this place in the prison, screenshots from his phone, including a phone with this number that was calling, having a profile picture of a gentleman with a lady and a child. I bring this particular complaint to your attention for the simple reason that we know that on the 13th of July, 2026, the section 105 plea deal that IDAC had concluded with Mr. Matlala was firstly rejected by the court prior to that, and the court counter-offered a sentence which Mr. Matlala, on the morning of the 13th of July, on record, rejected that, leading to the collapse of the entire plea agreement. Now, it would appear in the afternoon of the same day, members of the IDAC staff investigators visited Mr. Fanny Nkosi to get him, if I understand the complaint, to implicate General Masemula and Lieutenant General Kumalo by claiming that there is a relationship between the two and Mr. Matlala. And in particular, you recall at paragraph 4, Mr. Fanny Nkosi indicated that Mr. Belochan insisted that Mr. Belochan informed him that he, Mr. Belochan, wanted to know about any corrupt relationship between Vusimusiket Matlala National Commissioner General Masemola and Lieutenant General Kumalo. Again, in the context of the narrative that you had originally discussed with ad hoc, perhaps I should start by inviting your comment to the conduct referred to in these papers to the extent that it may be true. Currently, it stands as a complaint to the Commission. The Commission will have to deal with whether there is potential interference with witnesses of the Commission, but we can leave that for the moment. That's for the Commission to deal with. And understanding and appreciating what the claimed conduct is, I would like to invite your comment as to the propriety thereof or otherwise. Thank you.
If the allegations by, almost call him a general, sorry, Sergeant Nkosi, are in fact true, then they are serious. And if they are in fact true, they would have to be dealt with, because the timing can't be ignored. We had an issue in the morning of the 13th of July. For whatever reason, it falls through the mat. So one would have to understand what created this urgent, for lack of a better word, urgent situation that has to now be dealt with. And why did it have to be dealt with in the manner that it was? We have a practice. Any accused, if you want to see them, you must engage the legal representative before you make the appointment. We've done that with Mr. Matlala. So if you're doing that, and I use Matlala only because it's the same matter. So if you're going to do that with anyone else in relation to that matter, you follow the same rules. You find out who's his legal representative, you make the necessary arrangements, and those arrangements don't of necessity have to suit you. This is a legal representative, so find a common date and time, as we have had with many other matters, and indicate why you want to engage with the client, and let the legal representative say yes or no. If he says no, then you have to walk away and figure it out differently. But this, if it is true, is conduct really unbecoming. And would have to be dealt with, because there's no logical, I can't even read into the words, Commissioner Baloy and Chair, I can't read into the words any logic for wanting to do this with the urgency and with the measure of pestering. Because what would have happened if, after the court proceeding, we called the legal representative, once we find out who it is, and arranged for the day later or 2 days later, and then could have gone through the process. And we might then, in terms of investigators, have achieved what they perhaps well-intended sought to achieve. But in the way that it is done, the intention is lost.
With something like this, is it fair to say you would expect to have a record of this day, from whether it's a pocketbook, whether it's an investigation diary of Mr. Belochan, which indicates he did go to the prison on this date. This is who he was with, this is who he met with, and this is the kind of discussion he had. Is that something
Correct.
that you say, in the way you do things, there must be something like that?
There must be record.
Okay.
Even if, when they go back, they, on the very same day, compile an information note setting out everything they did, who was there, and it gets filed into a file.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Baloy. And just to be clear, it's late in the day, and Sergeant Nkosi is not an accused in the matter that Mr. Matlala is charged by IDAC on which General Masemola has been added as an accused. Mr.
No.
For General, yes. So it's not a case of interviewing or consulting with an accused. It sounds more like IDAC soliciting evidence, if it's that, against General Kumalo and General Masemola. Now, General Masemola is already an accused in that trial.
Correct.
And the evidence solicited in respect of the very contract for which he now finds himself standing trial. And secondly, how does General Kumalo even become involved in that? Or how would he?
At no stage in any feedback to myself has his name ever come up in this investigation. There is another general whose name comes up in this investigation. It does not begin with a Kumalo or end with a Kumalo.
Also, in addition to that, the General Masemola, other than the PFMA contraventions, are you aware of his name having come up in respect of corruption, on a corruption charge that relates to Mr. Matala, and in particular the Medicare contract?
No,
Yes,
ma'am.
You're not aware
No.
of that? Okay.
And we did get quite a detailed briefing before the arrests and a decision taken for a subpoena, and at no stage was there a corruption matter that I can recall. And I will confirm as well this evening.
And until Mr. Belochan gives us an explanation, on the face of it, it looks like he went about searching to find some debt that could be used against General Masemola and General Kumalo when there's no foundation for it in any of his investigations. That's what it looks like.
Correct.
Yeah.
Thank you, Commissioner Baloy. Advocate Johnson and Chair, it's 1729. I don't know what exactly to do with that fact.
By the time we
It would
meet,
be-
it would be 1730.
Yes, it would be 30 before you're done with your next question. So let's adjourn and resume at 9:30 tomorrow morning. Let's adjourn.
Thank you.